This is Charles Jordan, and on the evening of February 7th, 1971, I recorded WCBS in New York. The city of New York was in the midst of an all-city blackout, and WCBS Radio was operating on emergency power. By the way, this particular blackout did happen on February 7th, 1971. Wikipedia has it incorrectly identified as happening on February 2nd.
This is Charles Jordan on February 7th, 1971. The time is 9:15 p.m. and all of New York City, as I talk to you at this moment, is having a major blackout. Every television station, except for Channel 3 in Hartford, cannot be picked up because every station is off the air as I talk to you. There are reports of people being trapped in elevators. And now here is some news on the all-city blackout, which has fallen on New York City. Here's WCBS New York working on emergency power equipment.
A waterside generating station would be back on the line and full power restored in the affected area, which again he stresses is the Midtown Manhattan area only, and in scattered cases of brownouts and blackouts. They expect to have hopefully all of that back on the line and everything back to normal by midnight, which is just less than 3 hours away. Of course, one of the biggest factors has been the loss of television for not only New York City dwellers, but of course the New York City stations serve a vast metropolitan area, affecting people in Westchester, Nassau, Suffolk, and New Jersey, all over. And of course, until power is restored to the Empire State Building, there won't be any television. Back in our studio, John Linker. John?
George, an interesting phenomenon is taking place. While Mr. Luce was speaking over WCBS, it seems that the power outage got worse in sections of the Midtown area. The Lincoln Building, for instance, which had enough power to keep the lights going, although not enough power to keep the elevators going, is now out of power completely. We received many calls from the Murray Hill section, and they said that they had limited power, and while Mr. Luce was speaking, it went out completely. And we also got calls from the Lexington and 38th Street area of Manhattan to say the same thing, that the power has been going out. One explanation could be the fact that the generating plant is making adjustments in order to put some of these circuits back on the line, and consequently is deliberately pulling power temporarily from some of these areas in order to accomplish this. So that is a situation in New York at this stage of the game. There are more outages being reported as Con Ed apparently is trying to get the circuits back into operation.
Again, the crazy part of this patchwork quilt effect in the Midtown Manhattan area. And as we noted, of course, television stations, that is New York City television stations, are off the air. And you may at this point be wondering why we are on the air. Well, our transmitter is not on top of the Empire State Building. It's on a high island in Long Island Sound. And there is no power outage there at all. So here we are at 20 minutes past 9. Police headquarters says it has received several calls for emergency service units to help remove people who have been trapped in elevators when the power cutback occurred here in the Midtown Manhattan area. There are no reports, though, of any injuries at all resulting from those incidents.
Preceding had been live broadcasted during the February blackout, which struck New York. And it was the first power blackout, that cut television broadcasts in New York since the November blackout of 1965.